Hey guys, before we start, a quick shout out to Alpha Dog Nutrition for sponsoring this podcast. Alpha Dog products are now available at dusupply.com, and you can use code ALPHADOG15 at checkout for 15% off and a credit for free shipping to try it yourself. Now let's get you to your podcast.
All right, we're recording. We got Hezekiah.
Hezekiah.
I just said Hessa.
I know you say Hezekiah.
Hezekiah. What's your last name?
Anahu Ambrosio.
I'm not even going to say that, man.
No, you can't chop it up, buddy.
We're over in Hawaii, and you've been a customer since I don't know how long ago.
Before your son was born, I'm pretty sure.
Bradley, I got my son next to me. Actually, you took us out hunting yesterday. We're going to go again today. Before he was born, you've been a customer. And so whenever I finally booked this Hawaii, we were supposed to do this before COVID, right? Whenever COVID happened. Yep. And we were going to come here. We had our spring break planned or whatever. And when that COVID happened, we figured you guys weren't too friendly with mainlanders and COVID.
Never.
We didn't want to be wearing masks when we were in Hawaii, so we were like, no.
Yep, it was a messed up time that time.
Yeah.
I think this whole island was on lockdown.
What was it like? Everybody leave? Nobody came? No tourism, no nothing, or what?
No, there was actually like you had to get check in, you had to make sure you got vaccinated. It was a big ordeal. To me, it was just out of control, and to fly it was pretty hard for people to come in. But other than that, was
it kind of nice that there wasn't a bunch of people here?
It was in a way
for the locals and the hunting. And
actually, I felt like the ocean got a little bit more hammered.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Why?
Because a lot of people wasn't working and everybody's camping down the beach.
Oh,
so everybody was Aloha Friday every day down the beach,
fishing and hunting.
Everybody was fishing and hunting for sure.
So how long have you been hunting? So you have pig dogs, hog dogs, right?
Yes, sir. I do. I've been hunting since I was, like I said, I want to say 4 years old. It was the first time I ever went hunting in my life. 4 years old, yes.
With your dad?
Was with my cousin. My cousin as my dad's nephew. We lived on the farm with him. My dad was always working, so he didn't have time to take us. But my cousin who raised us.
What did he do for work?
My dad was he worked for Penn Pacific. He was a safety coordinator at the time. And we lived on a farm. My cousin lived on the farm. We had our own house, but we lived so far. It was in Ocean View. It's from here. It's about an hour and a half from where we're at right now. And so instead of that, we drive that far. Sometimes we'd stay up at my cousin's house up on a farm, way up in the mountains, living off total, just like Ocean View, no water, no electricity. Everything was just totally off grid.
Off the grid?
Off grid, kerosene lanterns.
How big of a shack is that?
It was a coffee land house. It was a 2-bedroom house, 2-bedroom, 1 bath, full on reservoir water.
What do you mean reservoir water?
It was just a regular reservoir. We had just
a hole
had water in there. I'm pretty sure it was. It is man-made, but it was there for who knows how long. And there was a pipeline used to go to the house, and of course you had to boil the water. And then we actually had it was pretty rough, on our water faucet. We had pantyhose on our water faucets, like socks, so guppies wouldn't get in there, and we had to boil the water. And
so like little fish
yes,
so
but
pour in a glass of water and
we wouldn't drink the water. We'd shower, wash dishes, would boil the water, and then everything else would haul water from the water spigot or go down the road to a neighbor's house and just fill up the water containers.
Right.
Yeah.
So when you started for the dogs, like with your cousin, you're 4 years old. What was that like for you? Is it something that flipped a switch or what?
It was more amazing at the time. At the time, the first time I ever went hunting with dogs was when my mom worked at White Koloa. My dad was at work. Their boat was at work. And again, we didn't have electricity. We lived off just regular block of ice, and we had no food at the house. And my parents didn't end up coming up because my mom had to work late. My dad stayed to pick up my mom, and at the time was just too busy. And my cousin who was raising us, his name was Aldo. He would I just remember that afternoon. I know me, my brothers, my sisters, and we was kind of like, oh, what we're gonna eat? Kind of worried. There's nothing to eat. Parents didn't come up. It was getting dark. No canned goods. We had nothing already because they didn't come up for 2 nights already. And I remember him just telling me, hey, everything's gonna be fine. Don't worry about it. I remember we had a chicken farm, and after we do the chickens, we take care of it. Then don't worry, we'll be fine. We'll get some dinner. It's like, oh yeah, how are we gonna do that? And then grab the dogs, and just like that, we went right out, right back of the yard. Back in the day, it was you grab a few dogs, and we went. And it was a farm, so he used to had cucumbers, tomatoes, and one spot where they used to dump like all the rotten ones, and the pigs would come down. And my cousin knew again, like the pigs is gonna be there. Had mac nuts trees around, and he knew it was gonna be there.
Right.
20 years ago. So I want to say no way. It was like 93 is like a long time ago, 30 years already. So we went there.
Old.
Yeah.
I look at it, I was like, oh man, how old am I getting?
Yeah, it's kind of crazy, but we went and let the dogs go. He was was 5 minutes from the house. My sister at the time, my sister was young. And then my other brother, and we went. We got a nice little pig. I just remember, I'm pretty sure at the time, a nice little sow, like 60 pounds. And he ripped it up right there in front of us. And man, he made some, over here we call it adobo. It's a Filipino dish. And he had some potatoes, and man, it was grub. And ever since then, I was like, this is the living, I mean, how to catch and we process everything. We ate everything. Of course, we didn't eat we gutted it. We ate the whole pig. It was only like 60 pounds by the time we got out with it, but it was really good. We ate it for dinner, and it fed all of us, and we was all happy.
Yeah.
And that was it. That was.
So your first memory was just the dogs bringing food.
Yeah. Dogs was right there. We grabbed the dogs off the lead. Was pretty was cool. What was actually was fun,
Yeah.
Grabbing the dog, like, oh, we're going hunting next. Like, pretty much I didn't even know what we was doing.
Yeah.
My older brother knew what we was doing, and that was it. That was icing on the cake from there. I remember that was our first time hunting. Ever since then was just game on.
Yeah. So when did you start getting your own dogs?
Oh, my first time I ever had a dog, I want to say my cousin let me have a dog. From that, like 5 years old, 6 years old, he was like, this is your dog.
Yeah.
Make sure you feed him. Come help me feed him. Take care of the dogs.
And you go out with him at first?
Yeah, and that was all with him because I lived with him. That was the only time we used to hunt was always with him.
Right.
My cousin or my dad didn't let me hunt with nobody else besides with him.
Just because of safety?
Yeah, just because of safety. And then where we used to live on the farm, man, was pigs was always around.
Yeah.
They was always bothering the farm, the crops, and that was our job. Like, that was one thing we did, we take care of the crop, because at least they would keep them, start busting up the tomato farm, the cucumbers, and eating all the mac nuts.
So do you think, like, in as far as Hawaii goes, let me actually mute this guy here, is Hawaii, do you think what's the main purpose guys are pig hunting? Is it food or both, a little bit of food and they're destructive to the.
It's a balance, both.
Right.
Yeah, it's food, and of course pigs are a nuisance.
Yeah.
They bust up crops, they bust up people's farms. Like, as we grew up, we knew they would bust on the rock walls, because a majority of them, they would, before the cowboys, where the farm used to live at, there's rock walls, and they would just always bust the wall.
Right.
We had to go put the wall back up, bust the wall. It was always, and then of course. That was a way that we were sustainable for if you wanted to eat some pork, and that's the way we used to do it.
Yeah.
Just like that. Was it? Yeah.
And so you, like now, what do you think you've evolved anyway in a houndsman? Because what's the story? Like, when you first started, it was all, it was a food resource.
Yes.
Now, do you think it's a little bit different, or do you think it's the same?
To me, it's the same, and
is some of the image, like, I know in the houndsman, I guess what I'm trying to say is like, even the image has kind of improved a lot from houndsman, what I mean, over the years.
Yes.
So it used to be really, I don't know the right word for it, but it was a necessity, right? So when you first started, it was the dogs were a tool, and now are they more like, I don't want to say like your pets, but you were telling me a story about losing your dog.
Yeah,
that was a pretty emotional
to me,
story,
man, that's
right?
the dogs is it wasn't for them, we wouldn't have food on our table. Right. Unless you stalk, like with the hounds, like you said, like the dogs is everything. Like I teach my sons is that money can't buy a good dog. You make your dog, and on top of that, but a good dog like that, memories is going to last forever, right? Forever. And I feel like with my dogs is you can't put a price on any of my dogs. I don't care what anybody says. It's just for how many work we put in and how much time we put in and the sacrifice they're willing to die. But man, that's what they love to do. That's their nature. Yeah. They want to hunt. They want the chase. You don't tell ever a wolf that when he kills other animals, that's a cruelty, but that's what they're bred to do. That's what they love to do. Yeah. And I feel that way, like I always tell my sons, your dogs wasn't for your dogs, you wouldn't have food on your table. Right.
You think that's where your passion comes with the dogs is just a deep connection. It started with food and then even
the bond.
Yeah.
The bond of just raising them from a pup, watching them, have the excitement of love to train your dog. Love to, have those up and down days. It's like anything else, watching them go up and down. Of course, not every dog is going to be the best, but some maybe just be a house dog. Yeah. But some dogs are just, I know for sure you've been hunting for many years. Some dogs just have it. Some dogs don't,
Oh yeah. What, so tell me about your dogs. What do you like in a dog and what do you got right now? Has that evolved? What was your first dog and what are the dogs you have now? I mean,
I guess as we grew up, of course, when we grew up on the farm, as we never have these like, I want to say like, all these breeds of dogs. Yeah. Back in the day, we call them poi dogs. It was all kind of mixed dogs. Poi dogs. It was pretty much like
whatever you got.
I mean, one dog will breed the other dog will breed. It's like local style. I mean, it's pretty much what it is. If Hawaii people know, they will laugh because it is true. Right. And then everything you had some kind of pit bull in it, or you would have a pure pit bull. Right. And us raised on a chicken farm, we always had to make sure these pit bulls don't kill our chicken because that was part of our lifestyle with chickens. We had a lot of fighting roosters, you know. And that was pretty much it. Then you would have like this is this breed, this is that breed. But as we grew up, my cousin never really paid attention into those. It was just more whatever dogs that he had, he could get from other friends. Like, hey, this is a pup, try this pup. And that's pretty much it. Like I remember when we grew up, it was a lot of like everything had to have bull inside, everything. Then as I started getting older, I mean for pit bulls, like when you let them go, I know like I remember talking to you during hunting is like you see the terrain we hunt, we can't have like it's hard to walk a pit bull in the forest all day.
Yeah. So what we were like to give people, we weren't hunting beaches. I can tell you that. Yeah. I was in Hawaii. It was like a rainforest. Really interesting. It's like all one slope. So it's like basically it's like all when you say mountains, it's like one mountain.
One mountain, just one slope down,
goes up and goes down. And there's a bunch of ravines on that mountain. You think of it just like a volcano basically that we were hunting on. And so you just keep going up and up and up, and so there's no end to the top. I think the top was 13,000 feet, and we were about 4,000 feet is what you're telling me. And the other thing that I didn't for me was the road system. You don't have a road system that traverses that mountain, right? The road systems go up and down, and there's some that go sideways, but not a lot. So we had a dog, one of your young dogs.
Yeah, one of my younger dogs. We were just trying to train. That was one of my young upcoming pup, and then my cousin brought one of his dogs. I was kind of upset, but he tried to help, and that dog I feel like that dog was just not meant. He's never hunted in the forest in his life.
And he's never, and I can tell you what I seen is you had a pack of dogs and it'd be like mixing packs.
Yes.
You know what I mean? So your dogs 100%. Were all packed together and that dog was just separate dog.
Separate dog.
It was like it was doing its own thing and it wasn't listening to you as much. I mean, it just wasn't.
It wasn't
smooth.
And I appreciate it because when I lost my dog, my cousin really said like the dog was on the chain, and of course, everybody's showing videos of a dog, but I believe again every terrain is different. We're not like everybody has certain spots they get to hunt. Everybody's, especially on this island, if you notice like all different on this island has all different climates.
Yeah.
There's not just nice place. Like the place we went yesterday was beautiful. I mean, like we got to drive to a spot, let dogs go, drop the dogs. But majority of the time, like how we hunt, like we get to the spot and we straight hiking. We plunge through bushes and you got to cut your trail and then it is what it is. You know, you got to go. I mean, like for me, like for me and your son, it was like I want to try to use the connections I have, friends. Like, to take you guys, try to get a good see the island in a different experience, because sometimes your first time could be last time. So I was like, hell with this. I didn't want to do that. That's the reason why.
All right, so you're gonna give me the real tour.
Yeah,
next
hopefully
time.
You come back the next time. Then we'll do it when
you're gonna step it up.
Step it up one more time. Is bring your goggles and your football helmet, the same hard hat, because we'll be needing that crawling.
All right.
But getting back to the dogs again, like I as I grew up again. I veered away from pit bulls because you can't hunt constantly with them because the terrain we hunt in, right? Like by the time you let them go, you want to hold the dog, you're tired, let them go. And next when they do, you run into a big boar, and next they get cut up, and then you got to stitch them up.
Yeah.
And then you're down for a couple weeks, right? And if you're sustainable living on that, as we grew up, we I mean, of course, we had different meat to eat, but again, like you got to take care of the dog. It's just different. And then as I got older, again, like you're going to learn from everybody's theories and this and that, and like for me, I was more into like a bay dogs. I like my dogs to be fast, quick, agility, and stick it, just stick and move, like to bite them and spin them, and wait there. And then if we like them, we have a chance we can rope them, grab them, we can castrate them, let them go, or we can bring them home.
Right.
If it's ugly, you know what I mean. Like I said, like for me, like my dogs eat good. We rope him, and then if it's good, if it's too big, we can. Of course, we got to shoot him, but other than that, majority of the time we'll grab them and rope them and stab them. That's how we was raised. We didn't have guns. Yeah, we never have guns when we grew up. It was always just let go of dogs, and just hopefully they grab them, and you gotta try to run behind them and grab the legs. But as I could start affording certain dogs, of course we bought dogs. I got into Catahoula's. Catahoula's are real good. Just that was here, it was hard. I couldn't. Everybody say it's purebred, and which it is, but Nixon, you don't know how much is purebred when they say purebred, because you never know if they put inbreeding them. I don't know. So I just was blessed with some good friends. I got into hunting, and one of my good friends, I can tell his name, man. I always remember, like took him hunting. He got hooked, and that was it. And he had no kids, and man, he went off into dogs. He started buying like purebreds, and he started crossing them, and then I bought him purebred from another guy, and then next to like we made our own bloodline, and that's pretty much again. So our bloodline right now is it's a blackmouth cur crossed with some whippet, bull terrier, has a little bit of Dutch, a little bit of Kelpie, of everything. Yeah, they're fast dogs, and they got to have a motor. Yeah,
they all look. I mean, they're all thin and really quick, like lightweight.
Yeah,
super.
Yeah, we especially the areas that we hunt in, they can't be too big because you see the thickness they got to run through. Yeah, they got to climb, jump, in and out. Like you try to send like a big, like again, like I had big Catahoulas. Like yeah. I mean, I'm not saying they're not good, like, but certain spots you can hunt, like nice forests, ranch
Is that
land.
the dog? So this is the dog you have now. What did you start with?
So what I started with I had a Catahoula, and then crossed with some actually the other one was Greyhound Whippets. Oh yeah, that was it. That was actually one of the first dogs we bought. It was Greyhound Whippets, and those dogs was really good, fast, strong, But just the thing is that again, like you just lose dogs, man. They end up out of the blues. We couldn't afford cut collars back in the day. Yeah, and
so you don't use collars or
oh man, like so. I want to say. It's going to be like at least 9 years ago already. Since 9 years ago, man, I had everything. I had a collar, I had a vest, this, that, and I had a vest. I figured my dogs was one of my Catahoulas. She was big, and she had I remember buying a few vests. We had nice half vests, and we had a cut collar in her too. Same thing on a moonlight, and then she ended up getting. What is the odds? Like she ended up getting like right under the armpit, right where the vest ends. Really? And then another one was she passed away. That was one of my good dogs. I'll come down. Then another one is same thing again. she was one of my. She was a little bit different. She had a little bit of bull, but she wasn't like a bull. It was from my good friend again. His name is Paul Freitas. It was one of his red dobies, red nose, whippet, black mouth curs. It was an interesting line, but that dog was amazing. And she had a cut collar, and she died with a cut collar and with just one shot right out of the cut collar right in the jaw. For me, it would make the dogs more stiff. They couldn't move as much.
Right.
And then, of course, they get the overheat. You know.
Yeah, I was going to ask about heating, because it's pretty. I've been complaining about the heat since I've been here. It's been too damn hot for me. Like I sent you a thing that says we have black ice back home. I'm kind of jealous right now that I don't get to see the black ice, but
you get the red ice over here.
Exactly. But so do you think it emboldens the dogs a little bit more, or is it just the stiffness? Or
the stiffness, and
move?
then because we don't have the privilege to drive everywhere.
Right.
With a vest on a dog all day, they won't be able to last.
Yeah.
But even with a cut collar, to me, my theory, everybody has their own theory. Like, yeah, it is, but like, if your dogs are fast and move, and then to me, another way it is, I look at it, my dogs before with the vest and the cut collars, it just makes them think they're more bulletproof, and then they get more dumb and reckless.
Yeah.
And then they think they can go in with a vest, they don't get, but like, I just said enough of it already. I said 10 years ago, I said, no, enough already. I'm just going to let them learn, try to fix my dogs and not getting smashed all the time.
Do you think it's work? I mean, you think it's at least the same? Or?
Yes, it does. After a while, once they get a few hits here and there, and they feel it, then they understand not to
respect it a little bit.
Yeah, they definitely respect it. They definitely did. Like just last pig we had, we caught a few nice ones, and then that last one, it went in. The younger dogs, they thought they could, because the first two pigs, they figured that they could. I already knew what happened. They think there was nothing to them. They just like piranhas. They just stick them move, and they just worked him, and then we got him, and then we went to a place where there is big pigs, like real big pigs, and they went in, and they was mixing a good bit.
Treated him like a.
It was sound like it was like a dog pound. Just dogs just getting smash. You could hear them getting like just hit, and then I could reach there. My best dog ended up walking back to me, and then the other dog just walked away. It's because of that, because my alpha male ended up like getting smashed because he went in, because the younger dogs for sure went in and thought they could try to test them, and next they all got tested, and the other ones was faster. My older dog wasn't as fast. Maybe he got stuck, he was right in the way, and he just got plowed.
Yeah,
it's how it goes, man. It's how you roll the dice.
Yeah, no, that sounds like, it's definitely a different, for me, cat hunting, it's a whole different game. You know what I mean? So I appreciate you taking me out. It was the first time I actually seen pigs, hogs.
I know. And I feel like yesterday wasn't the best day of hunting. That's why today, like, I'm fortunate enough, I have another friend that's going to try to take us today and try to get us some, you can see a little bit different terrain, a different place of the island. Again, you're going to notice how it changes. Yeah. Compared to where we was to now.
Yesterday we were and we actually ended up shooting a sheep. Bradley, my son, got you. Thank you for taking us out.
Thanks to the guy who brought us. One of our good friends.
I wouldn't have got that. I wouldn't have known where to even start before. So I called and I was like, "Hey, Hezekiah, I'm coming to Hawaii."
Yeah.
And you're like, "There's a bunch of islands, bro. Where are you coming? Where are you staying?" And I'm like, well, "I'm in the Big Island." And then ironically, it was 20 minutes away from where you live.
Yeah. What is the odds?
Yeah. So that was awesome because you're about the first customer that I can think of that. You've been talking. I always joke. I said you've been a customer before I've been working here because I was still working at Intel when you started.
Yeah, I remember the first time I ordered. Like I didn't even have internet. I remember going on somebody like W Hunting Supplies and I was interested in getting my first GPS, and I remember it was the DC-30s. I had it for how long, and then I talked to your wife and like, oh, my husband's not home. I'm running it right now. And so I'm pregnant, and like, I'm so sorry. Would you have a bunch of orders? Could you just bear with me? I was like, no problem. But like for me and you guys is you get to experience the Hawaii experience, or like we always say the aloha spirit. That's the reason why I say like now you come to Hawaii, you have family here. Regardless what color skin we are, regardless of where you at in anywhere in the world, you give us a call, man. You come in like, hey, you have friends. this is how we are. So Hawaii is, Hawaii people, that's how we was raised, like, hey, you take care of each other. Somewhere down the line, hey, they'll take care of you. No matter what it is. We don't do something to get something back. We do it out of our heart. We do it out of, like you said, aloha spirit. I know it sounds kind of corny, but, everybody said, oh, what is aloha? But there's no true meaning. There's a meaning of aloha. There's everything. Aloha is everything. Aloha is, like, again, like you really could have called, like, it's like, oh, I'm sorry, I'm busy. You know what I mean? Like, I make time, I take days off, Again, I didn't do it because, hey, this guy is coming. No, I did it. I don't even know. I never did meet you in my life. Never did,
No.
I just order shit from you and like, hey, I need this, I need that. Like, bing, 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 bing,
Try to make sure we get that part of it taken care of. That's an easy thing to do.
I think, again, it was just a blessing, when all meets back around, I mean, I just wanted, my biggest thing is like, hey, this guy's first time Hawaii, like, you want it to be, especially you have your son, you have your daughter, like, you guys, it seemed like the same way how your guys' values, the same way how my values in my house, like, hey, I'm a country boy. Everybody, I know where you staying at. Like you said, like, since I've been here, since my son's been there, I mean, since my son is, my oldest son right now he's 21, and I want to say stayed at the hotel maybe 3 times in his lifetime.
Right.
Because he's just like you. Like, I can't handle so much of it, but
a lot of people.
It's a lot of people.
I can tell you what, your version of Hawaii is much better than that version down there. Like, we went and sat, it was like a nice pool and stuff like that, and it's cool. Like I said, you walk to the shops and you see the T-shirts and all that, but like sitting here at your place, I'm looking out over the ocean right now, which I'm not an ocean person, but I can see being on a mountain, and that's the cool part that I didn't. I mean, I've heard about this, the mountains in Hawaii, and I knew because there's a lot of pig hunters and hunters and customers that I've seen. I'm like, there's got to be something more in Hawaii than just beaches, and so that I'm really approachable that you let us see that part.
We didn't even touch this yet. We didn't even touch this island. Like I said, we didn't even go around. You stayed in, like, you went like from A to point B. Like, you didn't go to Z yet. And this island has so much great hunters. I'm just one of them. I don't even call myself. I'm still learning every time. Man,
where do you think? So I went and got some dry ice to ship this ram head back, right? He's going to ship it back. So I went and that gal, her husband or significant other or whatever, she goes, yeah, he goes hunting. Because I was telling her, yeah, we're going to go out again. She knew what I was getting the dry ice for.
Oh, she knew already.
She's like, would you shoot a pit or a sheep or a goat? And I was like, oh, my son shot a sheep. He goes, oh, that's what I figured the dry ice was for. She goes, but I go, yeah, we're going to try and go out again this afternoon. She goes, oh, my significant other always goes out early morning. I said, well, that's where we went yesterday. So,
I mean, everybody, again, like, for me, I love hunting all types. Like, when I go early morning, like, we don't come home till the afternoon. Like, we stay all day. We make it work. We try to work. Again, we love working the dogs. We love just being up there. And then I prefer, again, like, moonlights. I love moonlight because pigs are nocturnal, so they're up all night. So nighttime they're moving, and that's when you want to catch some big ones. You want to do there. And then again, everybody has different techniques in different areas. This whole island, every side of the island is different. Like, some pigs run, some pigs don't even run. Like, again, like, I caught my biggest pigs next to where you think they would never have pigs.
Really?
Like right next to people's houses, and that's the reason why they're so fat, because they're smart. Yeah. Everybody thinks pigs are dumb, but they're not dumb.
Yeah,
they're smart. And then, like us, we castrate them a lot, and that's one of our. As we grew up, that was one of them. You cut them young, you let them go, you catch them back. You have some nice meat again, and you don't kill all the boars. And which I don't kill all my boars, but I'll kill. If I do, and I know that my dogs are hungry, I'll feed them. I'll feed the whole pig to them. I'll debone that whole thing, and I'll hang them up, salt them, and put them in my smokehouse, and cut them up, throw them in my freezer, and just boil them whenever they want to eat.
So, what do you prefer for eating? What's your choice?
Of course, I like those young, like young sows, like around, I want to say like 100 pounds. That's like the best ones. I like that, and then. Of course, we call them laholes, and they're pig castrated. I think they call them in the mainland. I think, like, Florida, they call them bar hogs. Here we call them, like, Hawaii, we say laholes. That's a prize pig. Like, I remember trying to tell you yesterday, like, whenever you cut one here, like, your dogs ought to know that smell. Your dogs, that's like, if your dogs can smell that, you have good dogs.
Yeah.
Because when you cut them at a young age, they don't have no smell, they don't breed, they don't fight, and they just eat and they just roam. And you can be right next to them. And you wouldn't even know they're right there. Like, your dogs can, if your dogs don't notice them, your dogs can walk right past them. I've seen that many of times. And I remember one time we was hunting. I took my cousin them, and we all went. Was a hunting tournament. And my cousin brought his dog. My other friend brought his dog, and they all went out. And then his dog was out, all our dogs. And my dog ended up, I remember she was a good dog, Catahoula. She ended up coming back like right behind of us, and we just was right there, like not even, I want to say 10 yards away from us. And we just was in the right area. We was making noise. It was just cracking, just chopping it up. And then his dogs was out. And I remember like he comes back, and then my dog just come back, and she's still looking, and then she went right back where we went, and she started barking at the tree at a log, and it was covered in, like we say, ferns. Yeah. And I remember he telling me, bro, what are you dog barking at? This fucking dog barking at a tree. Then right there, boom, it just blew up.
Really?
Had a Loholi right there come blowing right out. Raw. And good enough, like he had his stuck dog, and he just ended up just hammering it right in front of us, and we got it.
Right.
Yeah, we ended up placing with that pig. I want to say, I think was second place on that one.
So on those, you're talking about tournaments or whatever. So you guys do these, what they call like a tournament, right?
Yes.
So you'll pay.
So it's pretty much, like it's a lot has changed now on tournaments nowadays. Like with his iPhones, it's the best thing that can happen. A lot of cheaters, like my son, like there's a lot of cheaters. Like when we go, what time now, son? 3:20. Yeah, we're gonna be heading out in 10 minutes, and we're gonna be going. We're gonna try to catch us another hog right now. But on these tournaments now, with iPhones, like you have to have a card.
So explain the tournament really quick.
So the tournaments is pretty much you have a biggest boar.
All right.
Or the biggest. They have a biggest boar category. They have a biggest sow.
Mm-hmm.
Some tournaments do combined weight. And then the other one is a castrated, is the Loholi.
So is it a overnight or a deal, or is it a weekend?
No, it's everybody. That's the reason why now, like with the iPhones, you can't hunt at night. Right. It's illegal to hunt at night.
Okay.
Everybody don't realize that. Unless you have private land, you have some place where you are allowed to go.
So in Hawaii, you got to hunt during the day.
Yeah, it's from 6. I'm the correct from wrong, but it's usually from 6 in the morning to 6, like half an hour before the sun goes down, or after sun, or something like that. But that's the start time, 6 to 6, and then. Yeah. One of the biggest thing on the categories as we grew up was Loholis. That was one pretty much like, if you put in like, then there's jackpots, and like everyone has a jackpot, and that was one of the. If you catch one of those, not everybody's going to catch one, right? So like you try to catch one of those, you have a definitely chance of trying to win something, because not everybody's going to catch them. But nowadays, like everybody's cut, in a way, it's good because everybody now is cutting, and there's a lot of Loholis come up. But in these tournaments nowadays, you still can. But as the years got on, I want to say early 2000, like 2010s to 2000, or like mid 2010s, it was a lot of people. We knew they would hunt nighttime, and some guys would play some sneaky shit. They'll catch the pig the night before and put him in a cooler, and they said they couldn't tell, or like they'll catch him in a trap, and they'll let him go, and. You don't want to do that. You ruin your name, That's it's your blood, You don't want to be known as a cheater.
Yeah.
So, but other than that, like now with iPhones, just a few years back, the guys started making tournaments where you have to hold a card.
You got to hold the card on.
You got to hold a card. You got to get a footage on your phone, and if you don't have that, you're disqualified.
Really?
And that's the best way. And you can't cheat. You can't go nighttime. You gotta have the dogs in action. You gotta have the card. You gotta have iPhones. You can't lie, right? You have your time, place. Shit.
Exactly. Everything's there.
Yeah. So that's one of the tournaments, and it's good, because this past. Man, I remember. I mean,
how much is it to get into one of those tournaments?
It's $100. Usually, it's $125, and then you enter the jackpot. Every pig, every category has a jackpot.
So you pay for each jackpot.
It's
how many people together?
So usually it's a 4-man team. Sometimes it's
so
like,
each man plays, or is it 100?
It all depends. If you go if you bring your own dogs, if you like, I remember going a few times where every one of my friends, everybody just chip in, and we all chip in. We all split them. We all split right down the pipe. Gotcha. Everybody chips in. Everybody bring a dog, and that's how we go.
Yeah.
But since now, as my sons grow up, as my sons started growing up, where I'll just take them, and that's all I need.
Yeah.
And that's how it goes. I don't need. I mean, I love hunting with my friends, but at the time, my sons are too young yet. But now, when my sons grew up, like, that's one of the things that they would love to do. We'd go.
Yeah. And how long does it go for? A weekend or
no? Like... Just Saturday morning to Saturday afternoon. That's
really?
It.
So you get 12 hours or whatever your day is.
Huh. You win cash. You win, good prizes. Some tournaments is real good. Some tournaments is medium. But we want some good money. But I think more of it's like just who has some good dogs. That's it. And they said the hounds.
Yeah.
What dogs? What of course guys who has.
Where do they meet up to? Like weigh or scale, or how do you?
So you have a cutoff time. Usually it's at every tournament is different.
Yeah.
Usually 4 o'clock or 5 o'clock.
Right.
And, you got to be there before that gate closes. You got to be, there's a gate usually there. Like if you're inside that gate at 4 o'clock and everybody's waiting for you, you're good to go. But once that gate's closed at 4, you ain't getting in.
No matter what.
Yeah, no matter what. You can't cheat. There's no calling. I remember when we grew up, like there's like, oh, there's a call in. You can come in. Like, oh, you have a grace period. Screw that.
Yeah.
I mean, I had that happen to me one time. We work hard with me and my boys. We'll hunt all day and all of a sudden, a guy call in. But because, again, it's not fair. I don't want to mention names, but you can't be doing that. Fucking calling in like shit. We ain't bound certain time.
Yeah.
Let's compete.
How far, like, where do those normally happen? Like, are they here, right here?
Yeah, they're right here. Like, even, like, I have my friends, they hold their own tournaments, like just a bunch of, like, invitational. There's tournaments on all the islands. There's benefits, like we try to help. Like there's some for like, like fundraisers, like some people.
How often do you think they do those?
Oh man, there's a tournament. I want to say in a year here on the Big Island, man. Oh, I want to say at least 10 tournaments a year, Really? There's all different types, like a lot of, some is invitational again, like some is just like open to the public, not public, you got to have hunting license,
So if anybody, we got to wrap up here because we got to take off, but what would you say if somebody from the mainland was coming here on vacation and they're like, hey buddy, I want to go hunting pigs or whatever. So what? The
biggest thing is like, again, like you know the network, you know who I am. And I mean, like it's hard to say, of course, you're going to pay these guys who guide hunts. There's all these guys. Like, if you want to do it, go guide with them. Like, they're fortunate enough. Like, we call them Hollywood hunts. You know what I mean? They're fortunate enough to have the private land. They can take you. You want to spend the money, go right ahead. But, like, for me, I don't have the money,
Yeah.
So, like, I'll take you out just for family and friends.
It's not easy to, number one, pig hunting is whatever. We've seen some cool pigs and stuff like that, but you're going to have to find somebody with private property.
Private property, no matter what
they're going to have to do.
Or like somebody who has who has passes. Pretty much.
I mean, because it's not easy to get to public land around here. And
but there's only a certain time of the years it's open and you want to go. But by the time you go,
it's crazy.
Yeah, everybody stand in line. There's nothing left in there.
You just follow everybody.
Might as well you go to Costco.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
No. Well, anyways, I appreciate you getting me and my son out of the hotel. Like I said, he was pretty ecstatic about shooting a sheep head. Now I got a ram head I'm trying to pack home. Thank you very much.
Well, hopefully we should get you one tusk, put them back. You're paying that, but
we'll
again, buddy. I mean, hopefully you guys come back. This is not the last time. Don't let the sun chase you away. It's only a little bit sun. You got a
Can
good
you tell
tan.
me when it's like 50 and 60 degrees?
It's never here. I mean, you'll go certain spots.
We almost got to 50 degrees.
Almost, buddy.
We got like 64, 63.
I want to say the coldest time of the year here is January, February.
Really?
Yeah, that's the coldest time here. December, but January, February, I believe it's colder on that time.
I'll have to try that time next.
But you got to come back.
The problem is that's my cat season, so I'm like,
anytime you come back, it's a little bit heat. It's good for you.
I'm gonna take when you come over to our area. You come in that January, and it'll be cold. I'll take you on snowmobiles.
Me and cold weather does not get along.
You guys you're wimping out.
Look at this. I get shirt shorts. I'm waking up in the morning with no shirt and just shorts.
It was like 60. I don't know. We seen 65 yesterday. I think you were like, "Look, buddy, it's 65." And I'm like, "I want to see. Show me some 50s." Like, and you guys are all bundled up in sweatshirts. I'm in a t-shirt, still sweating, man. I'm like, "What the hell?"
But hey, thank you for everything, buddy. We got to go.
Let's wrap it up. Let's go see if we can find one.
Okay, shoot. Hold on.
All right.